Good morning, dear students. Today we're going to study past tense. As we can understand from the name, past tense verbs are used to indicate an action, event, or condition that has happened in the past. Each tense has four aspects that talks about the completion of the event or action, and based on that, we have four types of past tense verbs. Simple past tense, past continuous tense, past perfect tense, and past perfect continuous tense. First, we will talk about simple past tense. The simple past tense is one of the most common tenses in English. It is used to indicate or describe something that happened or existed in the past. Its form is the same with all subjects. It is usually formed by adding ed to the verb. Its uses. The simple past tense is used to indicate an action that was completed in the past. Generally, the adverbials of the past time are used. Let us see these examples. I went to Delhi yesterday. He wrote a letter to her last week. She met us 2 days ago. In these three sentences, we are talking about time in past, that is yesterday, last week, and 2 days ago. And what are the verbs? Went, wrote, met. You can see these are all in past. To describe an action that has been completed and there is no time mentioned. Deepak polished his metal. Polished is in past tense. Deepak polished his metal. Action, we can understand that the action of polishing is over, but when, that time is not mentioned. So in this case also we use simple past. Now, forming the simple past tense. How are simple past tenses formed? When the verb ends in E. Suppose we are having a verb and the last letter is E. Example, L-I-V-E, live. What we do? We add D. So L-I-V-E, live becomes L-I-V-E-D, lived. D-A-T-E, date becomes D-A-T-E-D, dated. When the verb ends in consonant and Y. So we have a consonant and the last letter is Y. What we do? Change Y to I, then add ED. How? T-R-Y, try. We have consonant. Last letter is Y. So Y we have changed to I and we have added ED. So TRY, try becomes TRIED, tried. CRY, cry means CRIED, cried, past tense. A one-syllable verb ends in vowel and consonant. But it should not be W or Y. Now what are we going to do? We will double the consonant, then add ED. How? T-A-P, tap. We have a vowel A and last is a consonant P. What we have to do? We have to double the consonant. T-A-P-P-E-D, tapped. So P is doubled. S-T-O-P, stop. It will become S-T-O-P-P-E-D, stopped. So these are the ways in which simple past tense is formed by adding ed. Now, formulating simple past tense. The simple past tense is formed by using the past tense form of verb. She sang. Now, this is what happens with regular and irregular. Here we are not adding any ed. We have changed. S-I-N-G becomes S-A-N-G, sang. The children played. The negative sentences have the form did not. If it is a negative sentence, we will add not or didn't plus the main verb. She did not sing. The children didn't play. Now, did is, we all know, the past tense of do. So, the main verb sing is sing only. We are not changing it to sang or sung. It is just sing. Similarly, play, not played, because we have already used did and it is a negative one, not. So she did not sing, the children didn't play. The interrogative sentences are formed by placing did before the subject and the base form of the verb after the subject. What are interrogative sentences? The question sentences, right? Did she sing? So she is the subject. We are placing did before the subject, she. And because it is an interrogative sentence, we are adding a question mark. Did the children play? Uses of past progressive tense. The past progressive tense, this is the second one, is used to express a state or an action that was continuing at a certain point of time in the past, in continuation, in progression. It was progressive. It had begun before that point and was probably continuing after it. That means it was not over. She was cooking at 8 a.m. At 8 o'clock in the morning, she was still cooking. I was going to college in the morning. To express an action in progress at some point of time in the past when another event took place. So when do we use past? Past progressive is used when we are expressing an action in progress at some point of time in the past and another event takes place. He was reading a novel when the doorbell rang. So action in progress was reading, and the event that took place is doorbell rang. I was sleeping when my father came from his office. So action in progress was sleeping, and another event, father came from his office. It is also used to describe two or more actions continuing at the same time. So time is same, but actions are different people. While I was bathing, my sister was washing clothes. So what I was doing, I was bathing, and what my sister was doing, she was washing clothes. So it is the same time, but actions are two or more. While he was doing homework, his brother was listening to songs. So simultaneously, two actions are taking place, and we can see we're using while. Now, how is the past progressive tense formed? The past progressive tense has the form was or were. We all know was and were are the past tenses. Was is used for singular, were for plural subject. So was or were plus present participle, that means verb plus ing. He was writing a letter. The children were playing. Now in first sentence, he is the subject. In the second, children. He is singular, children plural. So we are writing was writing, and second we are using were playing. Writing, write plus ing. Playing, play plus ing. So was or were and present participle. This is how past progressive tense is formed. The negative sentences are formed by placing not between was or were and the present participle. How? He was not writing a letter. Now was and writing. In between we are placing not. That is negative. The children were not playing. The children were playing. It is positive sentence, but children were not playing is a negative sentence. Interrogative sentences are formed by placing was or were before the subject. Now was or were is placed before the subject. Let us see. Was he writing a letter? Were the girls singing? Now here he is a subject in the first one, so we are writing was before it. So was he writing a letter? And of course, because it is an interrogative sentence, we should not forget to put a question mark. Okay. Next then, past perfect tense. When is this used? Past perfect tense is used for an action that had been completed before another action began in the past. So we are talking about an action that completed before another action began. I had done my homework before he came. So the completed action is that of homework. I had done my homework. And what is the another action that began? He came. So before he came, I had done my homework. The guests had already left before he reached there. So action that completed is going off guests. The guests had gone, left. And another action that took place, that is before he reached there. To describe an action taking place before a particular time in the past. So, before that time an action had taken place. What? By 2 p.m. all the students had left the school. Students had gone home. By 6 a.m. he had left for Delhi. So the time is 2 p.m. and 6 a.m. Before this time an action had been done. It was completed. Next, it is used to describe an action in the past which became the cause of another action. So we are having an action, a result. What is it? The child was crying because the father had beaten him. Now the act of beating resulted in crying. The child was crying. Why? Because the father had beaten him. So an action in the past which became the cause of another action. So action here is had beaten, and what was the cause? The result, as we can say, was crying. Sonu was weeping because he had lost his bag. So an action taken place, that was losing of bag. Why he was crying? Because he had lost his bag. So the result of losing bag was his weeping. Sonu was weeping because he had lost his bag. So here we are using was crying because this is again past continuation, but because of perfect we are saying had beaten, had lost. How do we form past perfect tense? The past perfect tense has the form had. So whenever we are using had, it means it is past perfect. And past participle. He had taken his lunch. Take, took, taken. So we are using the third form. He had taken his lunch. She had never been to Agra. Had we are using, had signifies that it is perfect. Past perfect. The negative sentences are formed by placing not after had. And if we are using the contracted form, it is hadn't. He had not taken his lunch. She had not been to Agra. Interrogative sentences are formed by using had before the subject. So earlier we were using did in past tense. Now we are using, because it is past perfect, we are using had. Had he taken his lunch? Had you ever been to Agra? Past perfect progressive tense. You can see two words here. Past perfect and another is progressive. So when do we use them? Past perfect progressive tense is used to describe an action in the past that had begun and had been going on for some time before other action took place in the past. So an action in the past had begun. It was in continuation before other action took place in the past. She had been dancing for half an hour when we reached here. So when we reached a place, before that, half an hour before that time, the girl was dancing. She was like, she had started dancing, and since then she had been dancing. So she had been dancing for half an hour when we reached here. The match had been going on for many hours. In continuation, in past. To express repeated actions in past. She had been always asking for help. Always, that means repeatedly. They had been trying to meet the Prime Minister. What is the repeated action? That of trying to meet the Prime Minister. Several attempts had been made in past. To describe an action which began before the time of speaking in the past, the action either stopped before that time or continued upon it. When we're describing an action which began before the time of speaking in the past, something which is happening in past before one speaks about. The farmer had been plowing since morning. The children had been playing for the last 1 hour. So last 1 hour, action taking place, that was of playing. The children had been playing for the last 1 hour. I am speaking this now, but before that also the action was in continuation. It was happening. Now, formulating past perfect progressive tense. How do we form? Past perfect progressive tense has the form had. Now, we are having had, we remember, because it is past perfect. Been and present participle. Now, why present participle? Because in progression, progressive. They had been waiting here since morning. So had been waiting. Past perfect progressive. She had been dancing for half an hour. Had been dancing. So had plus been plus present participle, that is verb plus ing, is past perfect progressive tense. The negative sentences are formed by using not between had and been. It will become had not been. They had not been doing any work. She had not been dancing. So if it is negative, it will become had not been. If it is positive, it will become had been. Here's time for some exercises. First one is history quiz, because past tense, so past is history. So some questions from history. You have to fill in the blanks with the verbs in their present simple past tense. The present tense or the main tense is given, the main verb. You have to change that into simple past. India dashed the Battle of Kargil in 1991. India dashed Pakistan in 1971. India dashed independence in 1947. China dashed on India in 1962. Gandhiji dash in 1948. So the main verbs are win, defeat, get, attack, die. These are the answers. You can check. Second exercise. Fill in the blanks with the simple past or past continuous forms of given the verbs which are given in bracket. Now you have to either use simple past or past continuous. Alright. I dash an elephant on the way back home. Dash he dash a letter to his father. He dashed to read when he was 3. When I saw him, he dash a blue shirt. Dash they dash out yesterday. And what are the verbs? See, write, learn, wear, go. Using these, you have to fill in the blanks. Answers for cross-checking. Now here are some sentences which are not correct. You have to correct and write them. Correct the following sentences. The rain has stopped yesterday. He had been born in 1950. He is suffering from fever last night. Stephenson has invented the steam engine. He will reach home before the storm will come. So these are all incorrect sentences. The correct sentences are here. First, solve the exercise, then cross-check your answers. Time for home assignment. Write a paragraph on the topic how I spent my last birthday. Because past, so some past event. And what is the event? Last birthday. So how I spent my last birthday, you have to write a paragraph on this topic. You can take about 100 to 150 words. Next one is write a letter to your friend telling him or her about your experience during lockdown period. You're facing this period now, you have to write down about your experiences in the form of a letter. So this is all about past tense. I hope it had been useful to you. Enjoy, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.